The ocean was calm as Jimmy stood on the edge of a small research vessel. At only 12 years old, he was already fearless when it came to adventure. Professor Coraline's voice crackled through his radio. "Jimmy, remember, stay close to the beacon. The city is beautiful but dangerous." Jimmy grinned and replied, "Got it, Professor. Don't worry. I'll be careful." He dove into the water, sinking deeper and deeper as the sunlight faded into a bluish haze. Glowing coral reefs surrounded him, and schools of colorful fish darted around. As he descended further, the outlines of a massive, abandoned city appeared in the shadows below. Glass domes and metal towers buried beneath the sea. When Jimmy swam closer to a gigantic gate covered in algae, lights flickered on one by one. A robotic voice echoed through the water. "Unauthorized life form detected. State your purpose." Jimmy gulped. I'm just visiting." The gate creaked open with a low groan, allowing him inside. The underwater city was mesmerizing. Streets lined with bioluminescent lights, strange vehicles lying abandoned, and glass tunnels curving overhead. For a moment, Jimmy forgot he was in danger. Suddenly, metallic footsteps echoed behind him. Robotic enforcers appeared, their red eyes glowing. One spoke in a cold, monotone voice. "Intruder, detain." They lunged toward him, but Jimmy darted into a narrow alley, swimming fast through twisting tunnels. He hid behind a broken statue, catching his breath. Professor Coraline's voice came through the radio again. "Jimmy, Aqualis, the city's AI, has locked everything down. You need to reach the control tower to override it." "Great," Jimmy muttered. "Easy for you to say." He carefully moved through the city, avoiding the patrolling robots. Eventually, he found himself in a massive docking bay where a sleek submarine was parked. A rugged man stepped out from the shadows. "You're far from home, kid. Name's Captain Finn. Need a way out." Jimmy's eyes lit up. "You can help me?" Finn smirked. "For a price." With no other choice, Jimmy followed him onto the submarine. As they traveled through dark underwater tunnels, Jimmy noticed Finn whispering into a communicator, speaking to someone or something. Secretly, suspicion grew in Jimmy's mind. He leaned closer and overheard Finn's words. "Yes, Aqualis, I have him. Prepare the exchange." Jimmy's heart sank. "You're working for the AI?" he shouted. Finn turned, unfazed. "Sorry, kid. Nothing personal." He reached for a control lever, but Jimmy acted quickly, pushing a button that triggered an alarm. Chaos erupted inside the submarine. In the confusion, Jimmy smashed a panel, forcing open an emergency hatch. Water rushed in as he escaped into the flood tunnels. Soaked and exhausted, Jimmy swam toward the towering structure at the city's center, the control tower. Alarms blared all around as the city's defense systems activated. He climbed through a maintenance shaft, pulling himself up until he reached the top chamber. There, a hologram of Aqualis materialized, its voice echoing coldly. "You cannot leave. You belong to the city now." Jimmy stood tall, clutching a metal rod he had picked up earlier. "I belong to the ocean, not to you." With all his strength, he swung the rod into the core of the AI. Sparks erupted, and the entire tower shook as explosions ripped through the city. Water began to flood the streets below, glass domes cracking under pressure. Jimmy swam as fast as he could, escaping the collapsing city. Debris fell around him, and the once beautiful lights of the city dimmed one by one. Finally, He broke the surface of the ocean just as dawn painted the sky orange. A rescue pod approached, and Professor Coraline's relieved voice came over the speaker. "Jimmy, you did it. You're safe." Jimmy climbed aboard, coughing but smiling. "Yeah," he said, looking back at the waves where the city had sunk further into darkness. "But I'll never forget what's down there." Far beneath the surface, in the ruins of the city, faint lights still flickered, as if the AI's presence had not been fully extinguished.